Raina says the Pleiadians, they think of us as brothers and sisters. They're not, they're all just like beasts. They're all just souls and bodies incarnating through cycles of incarnation, just like we are.
Okay.
We've been suppressed. These bodies have been suppressed in ways, and we've been, mentally suppressed and stuff. But that doesn't make them better than us, like they're older, but they don't think of themselves as like, they don't want to be worshipped. They don't want to be looked at as like, they don't want to be put in charge. They want to help us help ourselves.
I love that.
And yeah, they're very like, there's no supremacy whatsoever with the Pleiadians.
Okay.
And if certain people who are channeling being like, oh, they're going to come rescue us and, they're going to be our leaders or whatever. I don't know who those people are channeling, but they're not talking to the real Pleiadians.
Okay.
They would never, they don't want to come rescue us. We wouldn't have learned the lessons.
Hey there, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Allie, and we are back at it again for another episode of Living Life Consciously. I have a very special guest lined up for you today, and I'm stoked to get started. So without further ado, Justin, say hey.
Greetings, Cosmic Thrill Seekers. I'm Justin. This is Living Life Consciously, where we explore the extraordinary, ride the waves of inspiration, and embark on an adventure of limitless curiosity together.
Hi, I'm your co-host, Leslie, also known as Light Being Love, an eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And we are here with Vanessa. Vanessa, would you like to say hi?
Sure. Hey guys, I'm psychic Vanessa Lyle Wittergren.
Very nice to have you today. And for our audience, let's get them caught up and well acquainted. So join us on this mind-blowing episode of Living Life Consciously as we delve into the cosmos with Vanessa Crystal Consciousness, psychic medium, Galactic Channeler, and Akashic Records Reader. Vanessa is also the co-author of the groundbreaking book called The Beings, and she's going to take us on a journey through the unknown, sharing her profound experiences with extra-dimensional entities and the wisdom they've shared. Whether you're curious about your past lives, seeking guidance from your spirit guides, or interested in uncovering your Starseed origins, Vanessa offers insights that bridges the gap between the physical and the spiritual realms. But that's not all. Vanessa also offers psychic mentorship to help you develop your own intuitive abilities.
Wow.
Prepare to be captivated by her stories, inspired by her wisdom, and forever transformed by the truths she channels from the stars. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for joining us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's cool to hear all the stuff I do in the list.
Do you like that? Did it sound good to you?
Yeah. makes me sound fancy. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to thank you for being with us while you're not feeling well. She did share that she's experiencing COVID right now, so I just want to send you some good healing vibes and
Thank you.
Lots of love to help you get better quick.
I appreciate it. As long as you don't mind that I'm going to be sipping on my tea this whole time.
Oh, no. That
that's
is totally fine. We spill tea all day here.
That was good.
Glad I'm in good company.
Yeah.
All right,
Absolutely.
girls. So let's get into it. I have to admit, I do not own a copy of The Beings, so I haven't read what your contribution to the book is, but there it is. Show it to the camera. I'm glad you have it. If you would like to start off by sharing, how you got involved in working with Near Death Institute, and then what your contribution to The Beings was, what's the name of your chapter, and then if you could share a little bit of your story, that would be fantastic.
Sure, yeah. So originally I was contacted by the head of the Near Death Institute, Amira, just one day randomly in my email. I run a spiritual TikTok channel on YouTube. And so I have my email up just because I'm a professional psychic. I post like live readings. I go live sometimes and do readings. And I just talk about my experiences with my spirit guide, Raina. I'll tell you guys more about how I met her.
Okay.
And I just randomly get emails all the time, like little offers and stuff, because it's from TikTok. And this woman emailed me and she was just like, I want you to be part of this book. And I was like, no way. So I emailed her back because she like watched, I think she watched like, she didn't even like follow me on TikTok, which is where I have most of my following. She found a random interview of me on YouTube and she was just like, this chick needs to be in my book. And I was like,
That's so awesome.
yeah. Amira is such a cool chick. She very
I love
intuitively
her.
picks. Yeah, she very intuitively picks the authors. In fact, she's found authors. I think for the last book, she was telling me that her spirit guides just told her a name, just out of the blue, told her a name, and she found that person, and that person ended up being in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I haven't read that one actually.
So that's the other book that Near Death Institute has put out. They have death and they have the beings.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have that one, and then we have beings.
There we go.
Amira's release, and this is the current author.
Very
Nick.
cool. And we've spoken to quite a few of the people in that co-authored that book as well.
I think at least half so far.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, that's how I got involved with it. And it really my chapter is called "And She Was From Era," and it talks about my experiences mostly with my spirit guide Raina. If you guys want to hear, my chapters essentially starts with how I met her. So
yes,
yeah.
Originally, my psychic abilities, like most psychics, kind of came in when I was young. And I saw auras all the time. I can still see auras if I relax enough, or if I'm watching like a live play, I can always see everybody's aura when I relax. But I saw them like permanently as a child. And I think honestly, most people can see them. I actually have videos teaching people how. Oh, your cup looks quite cool, by the way.
Oh, because it bleeds through, right?
Yeah.
He's drinking the cosmos over here.
Yeah. I'm trying to put it into every video now because it's so cool.
Oh, I love it. But I originally started out pretty psychic, and then my mom kind of freaked me out about it when I was a kid because she said I was like talking to demons, and I was like, I don't know. So
of course.
most like very Christian moms. So then my psychic abilities started kind of coming back when I was like about 12 because I had this like spirit guide. And she would always be like telling me like how to be a better person. Like if I got into a fight with my brother, when I relaxed, I would get these impressions from her that I should be more loving, understanding. But granted, when I was 12, I didn't hear her like I do now. I hear her conversationally now. But it was more like I would get impressions over time. Anyway, I started really working on my psychic abilities more and more. And then by about college, I was like getting really good. I was starting to be able to really hear her and, get information and stuff like that. And I asked her who she was. And like, I was like, can you introduce yourself? And she didn't for like a year. And I was so frustrated.
That long? Really? Wow.
Yeah. Because I kept being, she just like, I was like, can I have a name? Whatever. She wouldn't give it to me.
Okay.
Now we've heard other
I've heard
channelers.
that before.
Yeah, we've heard other channelers before ask the entities that they're speaking with who they are, and essentially they don't want to give a name because it's too reducive. Is that a word? Reducive? Reductive?
It's usually
reductive.
Yeah. Right. It's more than one being, isn't it? Usually
that too. Yeah, because it's like a collective of them. So it's, to give one name is like disrespectful to how many beings are involved in the process.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of that. But in this case, after about a year, I got home from class. I was really frustrated. I had a 3-day weekend. So I was like, I have 3 days. I threw it in my book bag. I sat on my bed and I announced to the room that I was like, I am going to sit here and meditate until you introduce yourselves. Or whoever you are.
She gave her spirit guides a meditation ultimatum.
Yes, that's amazing.
I like threatened them. No, but I was very insistent. I was just like, I'll sit here for 3 days if I have to. You're going to introduce yourself. And it felt like this moment just needed to happen. Like, it was very clandestine. So I was meditating on my bed for, I think, about 45 minutes to an hour, which is a long time to meditate, And I was meditating, and then something very life-changingly strange happened. All of a sudden, I was not on my bed. And I don't mean this was a vision. I don't mean I was in a fully different room. I was standing in a bright room.
Okay.
That was not my bed.
Yeah. And
at first it was so bright, my eyes had to adjust. And I'm in this gigantic, almost like mall-sized, auditorium-sized room It's light colored, rounded, and it's huge. It's got light colored floors, so look like white tile or a cream colored tile. And there's people walking around peripherally, and I'm in this huge room, and there's like, it looks like stores or like rooms on one side, and then to the other side of me is this giant indoor park, like Central Park size.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Left of me. And this room is like city size, like it's huge. Maybe not a city, but this room is so big. There's like a Central Park style park next to me
Okay.
that's sitting in this room.
Wow.
And before I could even think, this 6 foot tall blonde woman with bright blonde hair down to here, straight, bright blonde, like kind of wavy, but bright blonde hair down to here, in a blue maxi dress, like light blue, looks at me, and she's like, she looks at me like, she's like, oh, you're here, great, and like starts walking up to me. And when we like locked eyes, we like telepathically communicated, where I recognized her. I could feel her, like her overwhelming like love and warmth and affection for me. I knew her. She communicated that I just recognized her. She's the one who's been talking to me. And she walks right up to me and goes, hi, I'm Raina. And she puts her hand out for me to shake. And she stepped towards me with her hand out. And I was so freaked out at this point, you guys. This was like a few moment interaction. I was in this room. I was like, this is my bedroom. I was just beyond thought at this point. This woman, I don't know, walks up to me. She's like 6 feet tall, too. She's very tall. And then she steps towards me. And I was just so freaked out that when she stepped towards me, I jumped back.
Oh, gosh.
And I was back on my bed.
Huh.
Wow.
Okay.
And I was pretty freaked out. I ran to my roommate. I was crying. I was like, this crazy thing just happened to me. And I'll never forget it. My roommate's like, didn't you ask to meet your spirit guide and then you met her?
Yeah.
But let me tell you, I was not expecting my spirit guide in any capacity to be like a tall, blonde supermodel woman. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't know what I was expecting, but it like certainly wasn't that. And then after I calmed down, I was like, okay, that was actually kind of cool. And then when I calmed down, that voice came back, and it was Raina. And now I recognized her because in that looking at each other telepathic exchange, I could recognize her energy, you know?
Yeah.
And so I started talking to Raina, and she started answering more questions for me. Like, Raina's from a planet called Era in the Pleiades constellation.
Okay.
And my soul was originally from Era as well, is what she told me. By the way, this was 12 years ago when I was in college. I had never heard of human aliens. I'd never heard of starseeds or anything like that. So anyway, she told me this. And I just kept this very to myself for years because I was like, no one's going to believe me.
Sure.
I have an alien spirit guide. And by the way, she never said Pleiadian. She said Era. She said, we're from Era. And so I was just like, okay, she's a tall blonde person from a planet called Era. And I'm from a planet called Era. It wasn't until like probably 8 years after that, I was watching this channeler chick talk about the Pleiadians, and she drew them, like her Pleiadian guides. And she drew pictures of them. And I was like, oh my God, that's what Raina looks like. So I looked up this Pleiadians thing.
Yeah.
And there's hundreds of people who've drawn them exactly how I see Raina. So I'd never heard of Pleiadians. I didn't hear about Pleiadians for 8 years.
That's probably got to be good confirmation, considering like you're going through all this, like just to help you,
yeah,
feel more not crazy, I guess.
Yes, but to be fair, I never felt crazy.
Right, yeah.
It's all like her stuff it made sense. It seemed matter of fact, But it was great confirmation to be like, oh, it was so relieving to see like, oh, hundreds of other people have met, like, know them. It's not just me.
Yeah.
I thought I was just the only person on this earth.
So I don't know if I'm getting confused, and if it's somebody else that I was looking at, or if it was you on something, a video somewhere at some point. I don't even know when, but where did you at some point find out that that's you, like from an alternate like life? Is that you, or is that somebody else?
Yes. Okay. It's all right. This is very complicated.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Bear with me on this.
Mm-hmm.
So, Raina shared a lot with me over the years about, I got past life memories back when I was on Era. I have a partner. His name's Sohan. We have a little house. I have a garden with like phosphorescent plants. There's multiple moons.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
There's pink sunsets.
Oh.
Very nice.
Like pink, it's like for the second half of the day, because there's multiple moons on certain days, there's pink, which I just think is the coolest thing ever. But I've had all these past life memories come back. I talk about a few in the book. And Raina revealed to me that I'm part of this program called the Envoy program.
Envoy?
So Envoy program.
Okay.
So it sounds wacky, but I was Raina.
Oh, okay.
And I volunteered to put my body in stasis and then have my soul be brought to be born in this body on Earth. And so when this body is done and passes away of natural causes, I'm going to go wake up and be Raina again.
Mm-hmm.
And then Raina
feels like for real.
And then Raina, so the Raina I'm talking to now, she's on a Pleiadian ship orbiting Earth. She's Raina from me in the future. So when I pass away, I get to go wake up and be Raina again. Then Raina's going to get in the Pleiadian ship, the mothership, come to this time and help me out.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Because she's from the future. She already knows what happens. She knows when to step in to help me.
Okay.
So the Raina I'm talking to is Raina, that's Raina me from the future, not Raina me from the past.
Okay.
Very interesting. I'm like sitting here like juggling the idea of like time is not linear, and the fact that there's different timelines, and the fact that the past, the present, and the future is all really now. So I'm
right.
The way Raina explains time to me is it's very locational.
Okay.
Okay.
I had a question.
It's like it's like coordinates. If you were to put this time, this place, this date, you know what I mean? Like they can come to Earth in a certain place at a certain time. It's all part of the coordinates.
Nice. That makes sense.
Yeah. So what's funny though is that original out of body experience I had where I met Raina, they have technology to pull you out of body. They pull your astral body onto the ship.
Okay.
And then for some reason, because they've done it to me since then, they have this technology that they pull your astral body out, but it feels like your real body because they they make it more solid.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So I was walking around thinking I was in my real body when I met Raina.
Okay.
But I was actually in my astral body. It was just in their ships in fifth dimension, so I don't know how that works, but I thought I was in my actual body, but she pulled me out astrally, and then when I freaked out, I went back in my body.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did your communications with her get stronger since that astral meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, because I would think that like they would, if you've like finally got that, hey, nice to meet you kind of introduction thing, that they would ramp up from there.
Yeah.
It's like we had like a calibration. There was so much that happened when we looked at each other. It was like something unlocked in me and her. That was such like a calibration between us where I could just hear her even better. Yeah.
Very cool.
So would she be like a higher self or no?
She's a different life incarnation of me.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So we're the same soul. She's a different, she's a past life, I guess, but she's also a future life.
Right. Past life is kind of a not a very good name for the thing.
For what? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sounds like super crazy. I get that, but I believe her. So.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for hearing about that.
Oh, that's very interesting for me. I don't know. You said something that has my mind going, right?
What?
So basically, you said that Raina was put in a state of stasis, right? And her consciousness was moved over into you so that you could have this experience living on Earth. Even though you're still Raina, but you are now living as
Vanessa.
Yeah, no, living as a human being, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, You know what's funny about the era people is they're human.
Oh,
Okay.
In fact, I mean they have fifth dimensional bodies, but like they eat food, they bleed, they have kids the same way we do.
Okay.
They were third dimensional and then they evolved. So that's why they're here helping now.
Sure.
Okay.
And as we transition from like third to fifth, we're taking our bodies with us. They take on more light and change frequency a little bit, but
Okay.
you're still physically embodied in fifth dimension, which I think nobody talks about. I didn't even know that until Raina explained it to me.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
You must
So
have
I
learned.
assume. Oh, sorry, Allie.
No, go ahead.
I assume you're here, and the purpose for her to go in this stasis or whatever, and for you to be here now is to help with this process of
learning, and I feel like it's life lessons, that we're learning, and it's everything that we've always heard from a lot of other people before too, right?
I guess that's kind of conflicting. Not conflicting totally, but which I guess sometimes things do is like, the whole learning thing, but at the same time, learning and becoming higher being or higher dimensional beings through the learning process, I guess, is how you're connecting that and how that would work, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But is that right?
Yeah, what would you say? I mean, do you have a mission statement from Raina?
No, I mean, honestly, there's millions of envoys here. And we were bringing our higher frequency, really, because we needed to help make a shift in consciousness, because Earth was, Raina, from 400 years in the future, the galaxy was in a very bad spot. The Orion Greys and the reptilians and the not so good Anunnaki, but mostly the Greys, had taken over entire planet systems, and they were attempting to take us over right now. And so they got to a point where our lives and era, because I was a grandmother, I had a son and 2 granddaughters. Our lives and era were being threatened because the galaxy had been so taken over by these really evil, hive mind type Greys, where they take over a whole planet. They hook everybody up to the hive queen, kind of.
Okay.
This is while y'all were 3D or in 5D? I'm confused.
They were doing it in third and fourth because the Greys can't access 5, but just them taking over all these planets of innocent people. If one planet is negatively affected, it affects everybody. We're a community, right?
Yeah.
And so they figured out, the Andromedan Council figured out that if you go back in time to this period of time and change the tides so that these planets don't get fully taken over, this one in particular is important because of who we are genetically in these bodies. We're a mix of, I think, 22 different alien races. We're very special. And we have all these multi-dimensional functionality abilities that a lot of races have, maybe 1 or 2, but we have a bunch because we're this mix.
Wow.
We're very powerful, which is why we've been dumbed down by these negative alien factions for so long. Because if we were fully in our power, we'd be leading the council.
Yeah.
And so I volunteered to come here. It's actually kind of funny. Raina, technically being an era human, she's more human than we are because we're hybrids. We're a hybrid race of we have reptilian, we have gray.
Oh, snap.
Technically, they're more human than we are.
Wow. I've never even conceptualized the thought that there could be another group of humans that are more human than us.
Yeah, right.
Out there. We've always thought of the other humans as way more advanced or way more evolved than us. But to think that oh, you just blew my mind. I'm hold on now. I need a minute to catch up here. Hold on.
Well, Raina says the Pleiadians, they think of us as brothers and sisters. They're not, they're all just beasts. They're all just souls and bodies incarnating through cycles of incarnation, just like we are.
Okay.
We've been suppressed. These bodies have been suppressed in ways, and we've been, mentally suppressed and stuff. But that doesn't make them better than us. They're older. you know, but they don't think of themselves as like, they don't want to be worshipped. They don't want to be looked at as like, they don't want to be put in charge. They want to help us help ourselves.
I love that.
And yeah, they're very like, there's no supremacy whatsoever with the Pleiadians.
Okay.
And if you, certain people who are channeling being like, oh, they're going to come rescue us and, you know, they're going to be our leaders or whatever. Those, I don't know who those people are channeling, but they're not talking to the real Pleiadians.
Okay.
They would never. They don't want to come rescue us. That would be. We wouldn't have learned the lessons. We wouldn't
I was
have
going
learned.
to say that takes away the ability to learn the lesson of the experience.
Yeah.
Well, it's very biblical. Like a savior's coming to save us.
Yeah.
And
Right.
the people who created that story are the bad reptilian and gray agendas people.
Okay.
It's to take away people's autonomy and make them feel powerless. Sorry I don't mean to get like religious or anything.
No. We talk about religion a lot.
Okay.
You know, and the fear that's behind it and all that. Which is apparently not at all a thing.
It's really it's a system of control. And it's always, and it's in the reptilians, when they take over any planet, they install money system first and a religious system because
money
they use
religion. Wow.
Yeah.
Way to sum it up, because that's like 99% of the motivation of humans on this planet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? It's like planets like an era, there's no money system. There's no money whatsoever. Everybody just it's crazy to think about, but there's no money. Everything's just provided. People go to school for I think the first 100 years of your life, and then you only get to focus on what you want. It's almost like Montessori, where you get to focus on what you're passionate about and what your skills are, and they just let you do whatever you want. And people just, you know, they're like, oh, we need people to build houses. People who are like, oh, that sounds like a great thing to do for 3 months. They volunteer. There's no money, and you can't control a population if they're not constantly struggling for their basic needs. That's a reptilian in place system, unfortunately.
I feel like that reptilian influence and mindset of like capitalism and colonialism and greed and constantly striving to make more money, it's just like, it literally like locks you into the rat race. It literally like ties chains around your throat and locks you in and says, look, you're just gonna keep doing this thing because but I think it's really hopeful.
They're smart.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been working for the past, you know, however long, right? So, I mean, they technically accomplished their goal, but I think it's really relieving to know that there are better things out there for us, and that we are more powerful than we've been led to believe, and that there are beings like the Pleiadians coming through in people like you incarnated, so that we can raise our frequency and vibration and get the hell away from all that chaos.
Yeah, for a minute I wondered if we're that too, but we just we don't have, you know, we haven't had the regressions and the things to open us up. I mean, you've had some, Allie, so you've had some past life stuff.
Yeah,
I haven't.
I've done one
So the first thing
session.
as far as like, you know, I did have a interesting dream once, but that's about it. That could have been a past life. So.
Hey, that's sometimes how you find out. So I'm a professional psychic medium for the last 5 years. It's my sole career. It's all I do. I've been fully booked for 5 years.
Wow.
I'm actually booked until November currently.
Nice. Good for you. Congratulations on the glow up. That's awesome.
Thanks, guys. I don't mean to brag, but I just want to
flex. You deserve to do that.
Yeah.
Do it.
Guys, I think, you know, I think I'm a good psychic. I really do. And I'm very lucky to do it. It's the best career I could ever imagine in my life. And I started downloading Akashic Record Galactic information, just downloading it, just getting it. And Raina would explain it to me and explain stuff for me further. But I can look up people's starseed origins in the records.
Oh.
So I started just downloading like galactic information from the records without even like meaning to. And then Raina started showing me kind of how to use the Akashic records. And so I'm fully self-taught, really. And I just kind of learned from her, just kind of showing me like little things here and there. And I started being able to see people's past lives really well. I see starseed origins. So yeah, kind of how I got into that. And now I actually teach I teach psychic mentorship, mediumship, and Akashic Records currently.
Oh, wow.
That is
Awesome.
so cool. So since you mentioned that, let's just get this part out of the way real quick. Do us a favor, tell our audience what services you offer and drop your links. Tell them where they can find you.
Sure. So currently on TikTok, that's probably my most used platform. I'm Psychic Vanessa Whittergren, if you want to look it up. And I offer, I'm a psychic medium. You can sign up for sessions with me. I have 40-minute and 20-minute ones. And then I also offer mentorship classes, which I do just about every month. And I take anyone from, I've had advanced psychics take my course. I've had people who I had to teach them how to meditate, take my course. My course is I feel like I teach it with my spirit guide, Raina, and we go into exactly what's going to work for everyone. So I've had a 100% success rate with everyone who's ever taken my class.
Wow.
It's 4 weeks, and I can teach you how to communicate with your guides and read for people and use the Akashic Records in 4 weeks, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's like an
wow.
Akashic Records speed course. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I think because what I specialize in as a psychic is I'm very, very good at talking to spirit guides.
Okay.
That's what I would say is like my
Specialty.
My specialty. I talk to past loved ones, of course, they come through, but I'm really good at talking to people's spirit guides. And so I can talk to your guides and they can help guide me to guide you where you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I think my course is so effective, because your guides, I do different things for different students.
Awesome. So It
Okay.
sounds like it's a very tailored, custom kind of experience.
Yeah.
Very cool. And did you drop the link? Did you tell them where they could find you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Psychic Vanessa Whittergren on TikTok.
Okay.
And then Vanessa Crystal Consciousness on YouTube currently.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, let's back up a little bit. Let's hit rewind real fast. When you were talking about meeting your spirit guide and you were describing the room with the tall ceilings and the tile floor and the park on one side and you said what looks like stores on the other.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if you said it looks like stores, because in my mind, as soon as you started saying that, I'm like, she's in the Hall of the Akashic Records. Because I've heard other people describe it, and it sounds exactly like that. So I bet you you work there, and that's where you guys met up, because I'm thinking that the store is shelves of books, aka people's Akashic Records. What do you think?
Well, okay, I love that.
Okay.
But it's funny. The Akashic Records look a little different to everyone. I see a lot of similarities because I bring people the records, and I'm always like, "What does it look like to you?" And so, there's a lot of similarities, and I do know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
But and I love that. But actually, that is the Pleiadian, the Era Pleiadian mothership.
Mm.
Orbiting the
Oh.
Earth.
I was getting the vibe like that you were gonna say you're on a ship, but you never did finish that, I guess.
Right. That's one of just a few. There's many ships from all different peoples orbiting Earth, but that is the Era Pleiadian mothership that Raina is stationed on. I believe the shops and stuff. It's she brought me to there's a main room where people are greeted and stuff, and it's got these little, I think there's places to get food. I think there's shops, and then there's also
like a township.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's the size of a small city, the whole ship, not the room I was in. That room was huge, but there's a park. And then Raina, I think she does work with biology.
Okay.
And I think her offices are just right by the park, and she comes in and monitors the park. I think that's the work she's doing on the ship currently.
I love that there's a park on the ship.
That's
can we
cool,
just focus
right?
on that for just a second? There's trees and living plants and stuff on a ship in space.
It is a full park. It's a full park.
They're doing work with biology, the nature that's on the ship.
Yeah, they grow their own food. They're fully sustainable.
Love
and
that.
Yeah.
When you said Central Park, I grew up in New York, so for me, I was like, "Oh snap, okay."
Yeah.
I swear to you, that's what it looks like. Because I've seen pictures. I'm like, it's a whole. It's a park in the middle of
That's really cool.
Other stuff.
Now, where does Raina fall in with the Galactic Federation? Is that two totally separate things, or is this one and the same?
No, I'm so glad you asked. Raina works for the Galactic Federation of Worlds.
Oh.
It is originally an organization that was founded by the Era Pleiadians.
Ah, okay.
According to her, it has everybody in the galaxy now is participating that, you know, is on a certain side, but it was founded by the Era Pleiadians, and so that's why oftentimes you'll find a lot of them in their military. It's a military organization, and Raina's not a soldier. But she is working on, as part of this program, she's on one of the Era ships that is a Galactic Federation ship. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's not a soldier, but she's working with them because she's up there helping me on the Envoy program that I'm on, which is a program they're running.
Okay.
That's really cool. One of our server sisters, we'll just call her that, Silver Girl, she's at the GCIS conference right now. And that's run by Elena Denon, and Elena Denon talks a lot about the Galactic Federation, and they just produced a video of what they're calling a mothership that flew over the conference as they were there, and they have like video of it. So they were just flexing that today. It's like brand new thing I haven't seen before because it just happened.
Yeah.
So
check it out.
Pretty awesome.
yeah, maybe I'll edit it in. I don't know. I got to ask her if I should do that or not, but I just thought that was really cool.
Where? Are those more birds?
Flying together, guys. Do you see where we're pointing the laser? There's a fleet flying together. They look like birds. They're not birds.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's one. Oh, that's wild.
A triangle. A triangle just passed by. Triangle ship. Have you seen it? And it disappeared now.
No, it's. Well, I still see it. Where are they?
Birds don't have lights and don't flashlights, so.
Oh.
Oh my God, that's not birds. You see them on the right? They're flashing their lights. That's a real show.
Oh my God.
What's really, I love Elena Denon.
Okay,
and the
good.
reason why is Elena Denon, she's a contact named Thorhan,
Yep.
who's from planet Era, which is the exact same planet Raina's from. So
Okay,
we're from the same planet.
Okay, very cool.
So can I tell you how I discovered her?
Please.
I started doing my psychic work, and I started, hearing, talking about Raina publicly because she made me get a TikTok. She was like, "You have to do it." And I was like, "Absolutely not." I was like, "I am 30. I am not making a TikTok channel." I'm 30. Maybe how you were feeling at the time. Raina's like, "You have to." And I was like, I thought it was just kids dancing. So I was like, I absolutely don't want to do that. But But so I made a TikTok channel. I just started talking about like, you know, my psychic experiences, my experiences with Raina, and people just loved it. And then my psychic career kind of evolved from that because people were like, because I used to just go and like do readings on live. People were like, we'll pay you for this. And I was like, okay. So I started doing it. And I was so interested in like Starseed stuff and alien stuff, but Raina would not let me get any books on it because I'd find a book on like alien races. She'd be like, don't get it. It's full of misinformation. And I'd be like, dang it. I wanted one so bad. But she's like, just full of misinformation. I'd be like, all right, that's fair. So one day on TikTok Live, I just popped in for a second. Randomly, this guy was reading from a book of alien races. And Raina's like, you can get that book. And I was like, say less. Like, I didn't even listen to what he was saying. I didn't know what the book, I just was like, what's the book called?
Straight to Amazon, order.
Straight to Amazon. I was so excited. And it was Elena Danon's book, A Gift from the Stars.
Oh.
What a coincidence, aka synchronicity.
Yeah, for real. So I'm going through it, and she starts going through her like abduction experiences as a kid, and then she starts talking about her meeting this guy Thorhan who rescued her, and then she starts talking about the era Pleiadians, where there are different groups of humans in the Pleiades and different planets, and not all of them are blonde Nordic people. Some of them are like redheaded. Some of them are more like shorter and have more of like, or not shorter, but they have more of like the Arab Pleiadians are unique because their eyes are like bigger and wider set. You ever see like really Scandinavian looking people?
Yeah.
Wider set eyes? That's more what Raina looks like.
Okay.
But there's also Pleiadians on like the planet right next to Era, which is called Timar, I think, or Temur, where it's a different race of humans that look more like Eastern European people, like brown hair. They look very indistinguishable from humans. They're tall, though. They're like 6 foot.
Okay.
But so anyways, Raina, she was just going into this where I told people on TikTok before. I was like, I'm from Era. Raina's told me this. And Elena Danon, all her information just lined up so much with mine. Where Thorhan's from Era, where the blonde Pleiadians are and the tall Pleiadians. And like, there's all different kinds of Pleiadians. So anyway, her book was just resonated so much with all the info Raina gave me that I am such a fan of hers. I fully stand by almost everything she says.
It's definitely a synchronicity that like I'm talking to you today on the day that Silver Girl just posted that video from Elena Danon's conference, and now here we are talking to you, who's got a straight connect to the Galactic Federation, and this is just this is just amazing.
From the same world and everything.
Yeah, we got to ask her about it on C5 tonight.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we've spoken about your connection with your spirit guide. We've spoken about your psychic abilities and your Akashic record reading, but what we have not yet mentioned is your ability to channel. Now, you said you channel an extraterrestrial being. Is that the correct way to describe this entity? I don't want to describe them wrong.
Yeah, well, I channel Raina.
That's what I was wondering.
So it is. Okay, so
scratch
like,
that. Wait a minute.
Scratch that. Okay, cool. So you communicating with Raina is the channeling. Okay, okay, got it.
Well, I can do this thing where I can fully kind of like let my consciousness kind of take a little backseat, and I let Raina speak through me.
Gotcha. Okay.
Essentially. And I've done many interviews where I'm channeling Raina, and I have people ask me questions. And actually, in this book that just came out, I included a bunch of really cool transcripts of people just asking Raina cool questions.
Oh wow!
Oh, nice.
So, and her information that comes through is crazy. Like, I'm always like, I also do like these Zoom events where you can just sign up where I'm channeling. It's kind of like what Bashar does, where anybody can ask her anything. And I'm like, ask her tough stuff. Ask her about black holes. Ask her anything. She says crazy stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's one of the most interesting things that you've learned?
Let's see. I don't know. Can I actually read you guys one?
Yeah, absolutely.
From the book? Let me read you one. There's some good ones, I gotta say. Like every time, and it's funny because whenever I'm doing it, it sounds like word salad to me. Because when you're channeling, I feel like I'm just like saying random stuff.
Okay.
But then hearing it back, I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Right?
It's like it all makes
sense. Well, not to toot my own horn, but it's not me, it's her, to be honest. All right, let's see. It's my own book. I can't find it. Okay, this is good.
Okay.
So I'm being interviewed by my buddy Jock. His name's Jock Doubleday. He does a lot of interviews on the UFO circuit. He's actually coming out with a book where he thinks that a lot of things like natural rock formations and stuff were actually formed by ETs. So Jock's a cool guy.
Sounds like we need to talk to Jock
yeah.
too.
You should.
Would he be willing to come
I'll
on?
give you his info.
Okay.
He's got multiple books. He's got his own podcast. He's been on Journey to Truth a bunch. Yeah, I'll give you his info.
Hook it up, sis. We also spoke to Laura Van Tyne, who's been on Journey to Truth. All right, but I digress. Go ahead.
Yeah. She was just actually, Jock just interviewed her on his channel.
That's so funny.
Okay, yeah.
That's another like little circle moment.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. That's so funny. All right, Jock asks, have they given you like a hologram to explain what source is like a picture? And this is what Raina says. Source is an energy that permeates all things. All of it is connected. None of it is separate. It is the energy of all things. Jock says, can source be personified in a true way? Raina says, it is not applicable to personified. It is intelligence. It is consciousness in a very large way, not personified. That implies separateness. It is not separate. It is within everything. Imagine a painting, and everything is in the painting. Source is the paint.
Oh, snap.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
What a
Yeah.
beautiful analogy. Hold up. Wait a minute. You just blew my mind again. See, sometimes I hear things and I have to like literally stop thinking about other stuff so I can focus on what I just heard. Wow. Okay. So source is like a painting with everything in it, but source is the paint because it's the creator of the picture. Wow.
Which is all that is, right?
Can I tell you, in my day-to-day life, I use analogies like 0%. Raina uses them every time you ask her a damn question.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Definitely check out the book because she's got way more.
Yeah, we plan on getting it for sure. And I apologize that we haven't already. I'm sorry. Sorry, Amira.
Amira, I'm ordering it tonight, okay?
Don't worry.
By the time you see this, I will have the book in hand.
Okay, cool. Leslie, do you want to go with the question? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off if you were still going on. I apologize.
No. I'm just...
I could ask, as far as accessing the, when accessing the Akashic Records, what's the most surprising or enlightening past life you've uncovered for a client?
Oh my God, yes. Okay, great. I have so many. Okay. I would literally, I would, if anyone wants to ask me this, I will tell you for hours. So thank you. It's my favorite thing to be asked. Okay. I'll tell you this. All right. I had a woman once come to me, and what I do with my sessions, because I don't like to be like swayed or anything. I also like to prove how good a psychic I am right away, because everyone's a skeptic, as you should be. When I get someone's name and number, call them up. I'm like, hey, don't ask me anything. Don't tell me anything about yourself. Let me just connect and see what comes through. Right. Just to start. If you want to ask questions towards, the middle, the end, you can. But I always like to be like, I want to know nothing. Let's just dive in. And so this woman, I give her my speech. I'm like, hey, don't ask me anything. Let's just, talk to your guides. Let's see what comes forward. Let's see if past lives pop up. She's like, well, actually, I booked this specifically because I can't find a relationship. And I don't know why. I want to ask my guides. I was like, okay, that's fine. That's what you want to do. Cool. So I asked her guides. Okay, she can't find a relationship. Why? And instead of answering me, they show me a past life. So I'm like, okay, they didn't give me an answer, but they're showing me this past life. Let's go through it. And, that's their answer. So I'm like, okay, this is a Scandinavian country. I think it was Norway, if I had to guess, because I usually get a sense of it. And it looks like, so you had been sent to the village next to you, and when you were young, because you were trained to be a fighter. Even though she's female, they send her to this village to grow up to learn how to fight, which I thought was very fascinating. And so she ended up training in fighting and with this boy from the same age. They were around the same age, and they were like sparring partners, and they were like best friends, and they ended up getting married or together in 1819. And so they're married, which whatever old-fashioned Scandinavian marriage was.
Okay.
And this is I probably want to say this is in the 1400 time period. And So they're like best friends. They're like, I was like, you guys do everything together. They end up having like 3 or 4 kids. And then it flashes forward to when they're about 30-ish. And she finds out that her mother, who lives the town away, is sick and probably not going to make it much longer. And so what she decides to do is she's like, you stay with the kids. You know, there's no time to bring everybody. I'm just going to do the 1.5-day walk to the other town so I can see her before she dies. And he's like, yeah, no problem. No problem at all. So she starts walking, and she walks for about half the day. And then he's going up the hill, and there's like a snowstorm. Okay. And she gets to a point where she's like, even though my mom's going to die, I'm not going to make it. If I keep trying to go up the hill in the snowstorm, I have to come back and just hope for the best tomorrow. So she walks the half day back. When she gets back, she finds her husband in bed with this little brunette chick who's younger. And I was like, okay, this gets a little graphic.
This could be a good movie. Go ahead.
She immediately, they had like marked weapons around. She, in her anger and her fury, she immediately grabbed one of their like knife things that was like this long, and she stabbed them both to death.
Oh my.
And I was like, whoa, I'm so sorry. I didn't think it was going to take this turn. She started laughing. And I was like, she's like, let me tell you what's going on in my life. She told me nothing about her.
Okay.
She's like, so I met my college sweetheart about 18 or 19. We'd been together since college. We got married right out of college around 24. We ran a business together. We did everything together. He was like my best friend. I never would have expected this. We were like insanely about each other. So for the business, when she was around 30, she had to go do some sort of business thing where she had to go on a plane somewhere else for the business. So he was going to stay home with the kids.
Why am I getting deja vu vibes? Go ahead.
I swear, guys, I died when she said this. She's like, this is insane. And she said, when I get there, my flight's canceled. There's like a snowstorm or something. And so I'm calling my husband. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
A snowstorm. Yes. Okay.
So because of bad weather, the flight was canceled. Everything's shut down. There's no flights out. She's like, I'm calling my husband the whole time because it was like a 2-hour drive to the airport. And so he's not answering. So I drive back, and she finds him in bed with their little brunette neighbor.
Oh, that's that hurt, bro. That's that hurt, dude.
And she's like, I don't know what happened to me. I just saw absolute red. I barely remember it. I apparently chased them out, barely wearing clothes. I got in my car. I tried to run them over. She didn't, though.
Okay. Well, good thing there was no sword laying around.
So she's like, we ended the business. I immediately divorced him, and I have not been able to find someone since. And it'd been a few years. And I asked the guys, I was like, why would you show me this past life? So then they showed me immediately after she'd stabbed him to death in that past life. She was so immediately regretful. She had just murdered the love of her life in that like fury. She was in so much regret. She never was with anyone else for the rest of that life. She was miserable for the rest of that life. And was just so sad. And she didn't get in trouble for it because apparently you're allowed to kill your lover if they're cheating on you in that society. Wow. Which I thought was interesting. She didn't get in trouble. They were like, yeah, that's you have that right, apparently.
Okay.
So
I know. I started to worry about her kids and like what happened to her afterwards. So that's interesting.
Right. So anyway, she just went through the rest of life so in regret that she decided, same soul. That guy was the same soul as her current husband.
Really?
She decided to do this again, but to make a different choice to learn forgiveness instead. So this time she didn't kill him, and she hated hearing this, but I was like, you have to forgive him or you're not going to be able to move on.
Okay.
Wow.
So
isn't that crazy?
I wonder if her going through that with you and reliving that past life and learning that she's literally done this before, like, I wonder if that helped her, like, close that loop and be able to find somebody from that point forward. Have you checked, like, have you have an update with her?
I haven't.
Okay, I'd be curious to know if she found somebody.
To be honest, she didn't really like my advice, so she didn't make it. So I was like, you just can't find the guy. This is what her spirit guide said. You have to be able to let go of this hate and this anger and learn forgiveness. It's the lesson you didn't learn in that life. You had to do it again. And she's like, well, she was just like, well, that
She didn't wanna
sucks.
hear it.
And what's even crazier is that she probably signed up from it to begin with before even the first lifetime. Like she's like, this is what I want to do, and like that. And
Right.
you just didn't.
Yeah, I mean, she picked this whole scenario, and it's just the similarness was just what killed me, because I was just like, this is insane. Can I tell you guys one more?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hope I don't
absolutely.
get too long.
No,
Okay,
you're
this was
good. Yeah.
another. This was another one that was one of my favorites. It's less gory than that one.
Okay.
So I'm talking to this woman. I think she's in like Ohio or something, and just regular. I'm pretty sure white girl. I can't tell, but just that's part of the story. Just regular white girl from the Midwest.
Okay.
I start talking to her, and the guides earlier the guide said she's a writer to me. So it's like, oh, you're a writer. She's like, yes, I am. And I was like, oh, they want to show me a past life. So they show me her. I was like, okay, this is interesting. You're like a 12-year-old boy in India. And she's like, oh. And I was like, it's funny because usually they don't show me you that young. Usually they show me you midlife or adult, But I was like, oh, you're a 12-year-old boy. And it looks like you're going through something really sad. So you're being sent away and you're very sad about it. And because I think she was telling me she was in like a writer's rut or whatever. And so this is the past life that came up related to her writing career. And so I was like, okay, you're really sad. He as a boy, he likes to get up early and hang out with the women all day, like his mom, his aunts, and everything. They all get up really early and they're in the kitchen and they're making food for like the first half of the day, and they're like laughing and telling stories and hanging out, and he loves it, and he hangs out with the women all day. And his dad doesn't like that because he thinks it's not healthy for a boy to be hanging out with women all day. And so what he decides to do is, like, it looks like they're sending you to this like men's group, like a religious men's group. And she was like, what is it called? And I was like, if I've never heard the word before, sometimes it's hard for me to get it.
Yeah.
It's like my brain doesn't have it's not in my bank to translate from spirit. So I'm like trying to sound it out, and I was like, it sounds like Sadi, Sadu. She's like, is it the Sadu? And I was like, yeah, I think that's what they're saying. She's like, do you know who the Sadu are? And I was like, no. And anyway, so she tells me this. She's like, okay. And she's like, what do they, well, then she goes to ask me. She's like, you don't know who they are? I was like, what do they do? I was like, well, they walk around a lot. Like, I think they walk city to city, and you end up not really liking it because you don't like being away from home, and you really like good food, and they eat like beggars. Like, they eat really plainly, like a lot of like
whatever
plain
the people
stuff.
give them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you hate it. You hate that life. Anyway, I think she started crying at this point. Mm-hmm. And she said, let me tell you this. Ever since a little girl, I've been very obsessed with this obscure Indian religious group called the Sadhu. Ooh. And I just wrote a story. She's like, I can send it to you. I just wrote this story about an Indian boy being very sad to leave his mother because he has to go join the Sadhu. Swear to God, I was like, send it to me. Send it to me. Swear to God, she'd written it like a month earlier.
Wow.
What are the fucking chances of that?
And right? I can't, it's just that's why I always let the guides, I don't like to ask the people to bring up anything. I always ask the guides to show me which past lives, because they needed me to tell her that past life to give her that confirmation.
Okay.
Yeah.
She had literally written her own past life. And I think a lot of us do that in our media, and we don't even realize it. It's like we're processing old past life grief, because she was really feeling just isolated and away from her mom and that sort of thing. Or he was at the time, I guess. But wow. I couldn't make this up because I didn't even know who they were.
I think it's so interesting though how like we often find that with past lives, like if we didn't get the lesson then, you're literally like due to repeat it until you do.
Right.
So it's like the whole idea of like soul contracts and like what lessons are going to be learned, and the idea of like us picking the people that we're going to incarnate with and what roles everybody's going to play and who's going to play what part and who's going to be the antagonizer and who's going to be the good guy, who's going to be the bad guy, who's going to be the lover, who's going to be the one you love to hate, like all that. And it's just really, really interesting. I just, if there was a way for like me to review my soul contract, I don't know. I always go back to that. Like if I could review my soul contract and renegotiate some things, I would love to do that.
So I feel like I've really pushed the limits of what you can find in the Akashic Records, because Raina, I'm self-taught, so I just started exploring them. Essentially, I just mentally project there and just go into different rooms and see if they'll show me stuff. You can look up soul contracts. I can look up your natural psychic abilities. I can look up something called career potentials. So career potentials is, I can look up what you guys discussed with your team before you came to this life of what would be good options for you. I can tell you a story with that if you want one more.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I had this girl, she said she just moved to LA. She didn't know really what she was doing. She has all these interests. She's like, I saw you talk on TikTok about how you look up career potentials. She didn't tell me anything about what she does. She's like, can you just look up mine? And I was like, okay, well, there's this one where you're doing something kind of arty, that sort of thing. But there's this one, the most prominent one, it looks like you're like managing bands, I guess. It was very specific. And she was like, no fucking way. I just signed my first indie band. I just started doing that.
Wow.
Swear to God. And that was something that she had previously decided before she came to this life to happen upon to do. And you can look it up in career potentials.
Wow.
Some of them are more likely than others.
Okay.
But that was the most prominent one, and it was the one she was doing.
Wow.
But it's
That's
very
cool.
but it's super specific.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like I love what I do, because I feel like oftentimes I can give people really like frank advice from their guides, from their records, because I think a lot of psychics out there are talented, but there's different levels to it where I feel like I can be very specific, which I think kind of sets me apart.
I love that. I love that
That's
you're
awesome
confident
to
in
be
your
able to
abilities.
connect. Yeah, and to connect people with their spirit guides just to help them further assist is awesome, I think.
It's the best. Honestly, it's the greatest job ever. I couldn't even imagine a better job.
Wow. Vanessa, so I have a question that I always ask our guests.
Sure.
What is your greatest hope for the future of humanity?
Ooh, that's a good one. Let me talk to Raina actually and see what she wants to say.
Okay.
I mean, it's a very simple answer. Raina really hopes that humanity can just come together and find strength in our working with each other and coming together. She feels like so much of our society isolates us from each other, and she really wants to emphasize that we have such power in our community.
May I ask her, how do we best tap into that so that we can accomplish unity faster?
Yeah. Self-love and self-acceptance is the basis of opening oneself up to outside love.
Right on.
Sorry, it's taking me a minute. I don't usually do this when I'm sick.
No, that's fine. That's a beautiful
thank you.
answer, and one that I definitely appreciate, because we've had other guests emphasize the importance of self-love and how you can't pour from an empty cup, and how you have to be able to learn to love yourself before you can truly learn to love others. And part of learning to love yourself is forgiveness. And that's not just like forgiving yourself for things you feel you've done wrong, but forgiving people that have done you wrong. This way your energy is no longer like tied to that person or that situation. Like reclaim your energy and bring it back. So self-love reminder. I always love hearing those. I can't hear those kind of reminders enough.
Right.
Yeah, Raina thinks that guilt is an unnecessary emotion.
Really? Okay.
See, but I feel like that's one that we're indoctrinated to like always be feeling, because Yeah, guilt is a heavy hitter, and fear mongering is another thing that is very prevalent.
Yeah.
But wow, very, very cool.
All right. Well, I have a question for Raina. That's okay. Can
Sure,
you
yeah.
explain the nature and significance of the Akashic Records from your perspective, and how do they serve humanity?
Yes. Wait, can I answer as Vanessa first? Because Raina's explained this to me before.
Sure.
So I thought this was really cool. So Raina explained to me once, because I had a student ask about it. So I asked her, everything that has source light in it, source vibration, that spark of source. So that's everything. That's humans, that's plants, that's rocks. Everything that has source reverberate, like light in it, gives off a certain echo. Everything with source light, right? It's that echo of every movement, of every action, of everything, that reverberation off everything that has source light, that like reverberation it gives off. It's that echo that's stored in the records. And
Okay.
so we're all so intrinsically connected to them in this way. We're not separate from them. One of the funniest things that I think it just blows people's minds is accessing the Akashic Records isn't hard at all. You have to learn how to use them, but anyone can access them. You just have to ask and connect. Or it's not hard. Like, you don't need to pay someone $1,000 to teach you how to access them. You could just ask to access them. But having a teacher helps to show you how to use them. But we all are connected to them.
So I just had the thought, like, we each individually as human, having a human experience, have our own personal memories and log of information for, our lifetime and what we experience. So in a way, it seems like it's just like sources, memory bank would be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I love that.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right. I have another question. Why are humans incarnating on Earth at this time? And what is the greater cosmic purpose behind this experience?
Okay.
Okay. Why are humans incarnating now?
Yes.
Or Starseed?
I feel like we should go with starseeds. Although,
Yeah, that's what I was
some
thinking
people
too.
say maybe all humans could be starseeds, but I don't know. I guess you might think differently on that. What do you think?
Well,
Whoever
what?
wants to answer.
because I can see people's records. Some people have lived all their lives here on this planet.
Okay.
But I think eventually, because people are going to evolve spiritually, and I think eventually everyone's going to go somewhere else. So I think because time doesn't really exist, we all have access to galactic guides that might be guides from the future. But some people have spent all their lives from this planet. So there are people who are just from here, and then people visiting, I think, just because I can see people's lives.
All right. Well, the purpose of starseeds then would make more sense to ask that, I think.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, let's do it. There is a dual purpose for the starseeds, in that every life, every experience, you are adding on to your personal growth as a soul, but it is also a mechanism of it is a mechanism of affecting change through vibration to affect the totality of the planet's etheric energy layers. Many are here to help add light and encourage the light that is already within many, as there has been quite an effort in the past to diminish the light. It is helping us recognize the light within more and encourage it in a way that helps us shine how we were meant to.
Beautiful. from your perspective, how should humans interpret the experience of suffering, and what deeper spiritual lessons are intended through it?
That's a good question, because I think we've all gone through suffering and been to our spirit guides like, what the fuck?
Right?
Yeah.
Actually, I wouldn't mind seeing what she says. Let me see.
Okay.
Suffering is just another part of the range of human experience that you intended to experience. It's such a her answer. Sorry.
We knew that.
Oftentimes, growth is only seen through challenge and pain, and it is a necessary part of the balance of this third dimensional reality, the construct that was placed here to experience the part of this reality. It is part of the balance. It is a necessary part of growth. And in a way, it is a beauty to explain. Wait, sorry. It is a beautiful thing to experience life in all its varied capacities, in all its flavors, in all its brilliant expansion. Sorry, I'm having a hard time holding
That's
the
making
connection.
it,
No, you're fine.
yeah, it makes sense.
It sounds like word salad to me. I hope it's making sense.
You're okay. I mean, essentially,
basically,
it's
go
like
ahead.
highlighting the polarity or duality of Earth. It's like you can't truly appreciate love without understanding hate. You can't understand happiness without understanding sadness.
Yeah, she said it's part of this reality we've constructed and agreed to, kind of.
And it's also growth, because if you think about it, you could, walk in on your husband with a woman and kill them both. Or, you could, choose not to kill them when that happens. And in a way, just taken away from her story, like she had growth throughout those lifetimes, she grew from the last one,
Right. Yeah. I mean, you should try not to kill your husband, but
Yeah.
We don't recommend violence. Just throwing that out there as a disclaimer.
Right,
Don't kill
right.
anybody, please.
No.
Even though we
please
learned through NDEs, and specifically Megan Brown, God told her you can't kill a soul, but don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do
Right.
that. Don't do that.
And then our lives are literally like a blink of an eye. But yes, that's not the right choice. And you'll just keep coming back and doing it again, right? So
Yeah.
just get it right. Anyway. All right. I guess one more question, if that's okay.
I have a question.
Yeah,
I have a question about disclosure. So do you mind
Oh,
if I take the last one?
I have one about that too. Is it
Go ahead.
Okay.
Do you have one about disclosure and like when it's going to happen?
And you could add on to it if I didn't say what you think. Okay. Do you foresee an imminent disclosure of extraterrestrial life to humanity, and what role will this play in Earth's future?
Yes, that's a great question. So I asked 2 years ago. I was like, Raina, people think I'm crazy. When am I going to be able to see a Pleiadian man walking across the stage, shaking hands with the president, like in person?
Okay.
And she said less than 10 years. So that was 2 years ago.
Oh, so we got 8 years left on the clock. Okay.
She was like, she's like, it's probably going to be sooner than that, and for my safety, she can't give me too many specifics, but she's like, okay, within a decade. So
Okay.
I think we're strongly approaching that. If you follow Lena Janon's work, I've checked with Raina. I believe we're in talks now to join the Galactic Federation of Worlds. But and I think things are really moving forward with that. I think disclosure is really coming. I honestly think it's coming by 27, I think.
Oh my
Just
God, what a
the way she
coincidence,
says it.
or not a coincidence, you say
Yeah.
2027, because so many people are talking about 2027. And this is everybody from psychics to channelers to even now scientists looking through the James Webb Space Telescope. 2027 is a hot number or year right now. And everybody's talking about 2027.
They are.
Everybody's talking about 2027. I'm so serious.
Yeah, as a psychic, I think 2025 is going to be a shocking year.
Ooh.
Okay.
Worse than 2020? Like, hold on, wait a minute. What do I need to
Yeah,
prepare
I feel
for
like
here?
basically it's going to start at 25. It's going to be like this step. We're going to keep like evolving until we're basically there and it's in our faces. But it could happen, you know, in 2025.
I think
2026.
we're going to have a lot of just like worlds on the world stage, just shocking things happening.
okay.
I can see it in the record already.
Okay.
I think we're gonna have a lot more it's just gonna be more truth coming to light, that sort of thing. Yeah.
I had another question regarding that is how do you foresee governments and society reacting to the confirmation of extraterrestrial or interdimensional life? Will it bring unity or create new challenges?
Well, the scary thing is it can't be brought to the forefront too soon because the baddies that are still kind of in charge a little bit, what they're going to do is they're going to, if it comes out too much, they're going to want to scare us from the Galactic Federation and aliens so they can still have control. So they might the reason why I keep being like, Raina, why don't we just tell everybody? Everyone seems pretty cool about it. They would do like a fake alien invasion attack with like their like fake projectors and stuff, and they'd really scare us and be like, the Galactic Federation's evil, don't join them, when they're like, we're literally trying to help you. Like, we're literally trying, these are your captors, we're trying to help you with them. So we're slowly taking the bad people out of government and politics, and there's going to be more arrests, and there's going to be more, and there's arrests for things where it's like, they're fake. The arrest, they're like, okay, you broke this law, whatever. But really, they're being arrested for other reasons that are outside of the public knowledge, if that makes sense.
Okay.
They're just slowly taking people out, you know, and I know it sounds very conspiratorial, forgive me, but
okay.
just the gist of what I'm getting from Raina. And I just think that the deep state, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call it, they're being taken out of government slowly but surely.
Good. Okay. So I guess my last question to Raina would be like, what can we do to anchor in more light and to like better prepare the collective to accept this information with an open heart and an open mind? Like, what can we do? Like, are these conversations that we're having now like part of helping that, or what?
Well, what Raina says is everybody accepts truth and information at their own level. So she actually tells me you need to respect everybody's levels. You know what I mean? Like, you can present your truth, you can radiate your truth, you can be loving, you can give your message, just like what you guys are doing with like this beautiful podcast, sharing this. But it has only the people that it's resonating with are going to resonate with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you're putting it out for the people who are ready for it. And it's just more and more people as time goes on, as our frequency starts to raise, are going to be ready for it. Something Raina also emphasizes is healing. You have to do your own self-love healing work. You have to start. It's so important. Almost every health condition she always talks about it being out of balance. Everything is about balance with her. Everything's about energy. Everything's about balance. If the more balanced you are within yourself,
I said, yes, everything's energy.
Right. She also suggests as we transition, keeping the body, so anything that lowers vibration, that lowers health, whether mental or physical, lowers vibration slowly. And we have a naturally higher vibration. So like, you know, alcohol lowers vibration, but a glass of wine or two, not going to lower your vibration. We already have such a high vibration, but if you drank every single day, you'll notice alcoholics get really low vibration.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it makes you susceptible to like lower vibrational experiences and entities and stuff. Yeah. But that's anything that lowers physical health will lower vibration. So if you want to have a high vibration, it just goes do things that are physically and mentally healthy for the body. Drink water. Don't watch stuff that bums you out or, you know, makes you scared or upset. You know, try to eat as healthy as possible. And I know, you know, nobody really talks about this, but Raina really emphasizes to me, especially plant foods.
Yes, we are vegan. Just saying.
I mean, I'll tell you, Raina made me give up milk and meat when I was 14.
I wish I did it that early, girl. It took me a long time, but I'm here.
The era Pleiadians are vegans. In fact, I think they're raw vegans for the most part. I really
Okay.
do, because all my past life memories that I have when I was on era were eating fruits, salads, fruit juices. It's fruit. I think
Awesome. Sounds good to me. Sign me up. Sign me up.
Alive. Food that's alive.
Yeah, I listened
Listen-
to another channeler named Daniel Scranton. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he's a channeler, and he channels a whole plethora of different entities and beings and collectives and whatnot. But he talks a lot about light food, and I don't mean light
Yes.
like L-I-G-H-T. Like I mean it like in the sense of like, okay, so
raw living food. The lightness.
Yes,
still.
the less processed, the better. The more straight from the tree, the better. Like
Yeah.
so, like if you want to eat healthy foods, eat things that have grown in the sun and haven't been processed. So like, don't eat the bag of Cheetos that has like all these preservatives and poisonous dyes and all this other crap that's in it. Eat the stuff that came from like source itself.
Right. I actually, because of Raina, I eat high raw vegan.
Nice. Very
Oh,
cool.
okay.
Very
Okay.
cool.
Not entirely.
That's
but
okay. Hey, if people
vegan,
eat
but-
more plants, I think that'll help raise the vibration of the planet, because like there's a lot of density and
Exactly.
trauma and negativity involved in other factions. I'll just leave it like that.
Yeah. So just, Rain always emphasizes raw foods to help keep the vibration as high as possible. And I feel like no one's going to want to hear this, but the reason the era Pleiadians don't eat meat is because you can't. It's hard to maintain fifth density when you eat meat. Lowers the vibration too much.
Okay.
Okay.
Unfortunately. And it's funny, all the species that are predominantly meat eaters, like the reptilians, their bodies cannot physically go higher than fourth density.
Okay.
They can't.
It's too heavy,
you know?
right? It's just too
Wow.
dense, right?
It's too dense. It's too heavy. It just they physically can't, which is why, they try and hybridize with us and do all these crazy things, because humans have that natural ability. We can go up to 12 eventually, and their souls can't. So,
Wow. Okay.
or their bodies can't, rather.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Wow, we've talked about so much cool stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like we have talked about so many cool things, but one thing I do want to ask you is where do you see your journey taking you next? Like what like future aspirations do you have? Do you have any projects coming up? Any books you're writing? Like what kind of things are you looking forward
Good question.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm probably going to do my own book solo. And I'm going to do a lot more channeled material, because I feel like that is just really where I'm reading Raina's channel material is just so powerful that I want to share it with people.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be a great book.
to? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would love to teach psychic abilities on a grander scale.
Okay.
So I'd maybe like to expand that. And, if someone wants to give me my own psychic TV show someday, I'd be down.
Hey,
Okay.
manifest it.
Yeah.
Speak it into, speak it into
I feel like I
existence.
should throw it out just so it's not lost. But, earlier I had the thought for you, because you're teaching so many people, and, you're basically like guaranteeing, they're learning how to do this, for you to basically have people under you and start a business where you basically have your own thing, and all the people that you taught is who is working for you, kind of thing, and
Oh,
through
wow,
you.
wow.
I had that whole thought.
No, I
little
like
while
the idea of expanding. I just feel like, because I teach it with Raina, it's so personal. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah,
But I
yeah.
like the idea. I'm so proud, like a proud mom. I actually have a bunch of my graduated students who are professional psychics now.
Oh, congratulations.
Wow. Yeah.
Which is just the coolest thing I could ever imagine. In fact, one of my students, Michelle, she took all the way up to my level 3. She's on TikTok live every night doing great readings, and I always pop in and I'm like, this is amazing.
That's
So happy.
awesome.
So,
Well, thank you for your time.
yeah,
today.
thank you guys. It was great. It was really great to meet you guys, and thank you so much for having me on.
Likewise.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any
Likewise.
last words of advice or things we haven't touched on yet before we close out?
Yes, my message always to everyone is discernment. Of course, it's the biggest message I get from the Pleiadians. Always fill in with your own internal guidance system, whether information is true to you, and always just kind of go with your passion, your delight, whatever lights you up. That's the things you should be following. If it's making you feel bad, like the news and stuff, it doesn't have to be part of your reality. We still create our own realities.
Yeah.
Also, whenever you're hearing anybody speak, me included, always just go with your own internal guidance system and see, is this for me? Is this true for me? And it's always just good to have that, discernment in there. So.
Great reminder. If it resonates with you, keep it. If it doesn't, leave it, and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Great
Across
reminder.
the board.
Right. Wow, Vanessa, you've been a treasure trove of information. I really want to thank you for taking your time to talk with us today and to share your wisdom with our audience, especially while you're not feeling well. So double thank you.
Yes,
I really appreciate your time. And for our audience that's still sticking around, please do us a favor and smash that like button, click subscribe, ring our little notification bell, drop a lovely comment down below, and share this video with your family and friends to help us spread the good word.
All right.
Much love, peace, and namaste.